So sometimes you'll hear about one person who finds an online business in a month. And then other people, it can take 10 months or 2 years or whatever it is.
Mm, mm.
So what do you tell people who find businesses at different lengths of time? Is time the only thing to consider here? Are there other factors? What's going on?
Such a good question. People count time like it's important, and it can be if they believe it's important. But counting time is not the correct measure to getting a result, in my opinion. I believe we should count inputs. For example, somebody who finds a business in a month, they may have done due diligence on 20 businesses, right, in a month. Somebody who finds a business in 6 months may have done due diligence on 15 months. And then the person who finds a business in a month seems more successful than the person that finds a business in 6 months. But the reality is the person who found the business in a month did more work than the other person did to find the business in 6 months, because they did due diligence on just 15 businesses versus due diligence on 20 businesses within 1 month. So what should we actually count? We should count our inputs. So some people have the perception of like, oh, I can do this in a short period of time. Yeah, if you're single and you don't have a job, and you can put all your time into it, and you've got a bunch of money and you're just ready to go, right? And you've gotten maybe a lot of, personal things out of the way, and you just clean your schedule, and you can literally just do that much inputs, the same amount of inputs somebody could do in a month than say somebody that has 2 kids, a full-time job, a wife, and takes their kids to daycare and sports and stuff like that. They're not going to have the same amount of time, but it's still going to take each person roughly the same amount of inputs. But people count the time, they don't count the inputs. And that's where people trip up, is like, see a case study. Oh, this person made $1 million in 1 year. Okay. Did they just go, all right, this year in 2023, I'm just going to start a business and make $1 million? Most people that make $1 million in a year have multiple businesses that have failed beforehand and learnt so much, or they already have other businesses that are $1 million businesses, and they know exactly the right path to take and the right steps to take, and they have the resources to spend the money to build a business up to $1 million price range or valuation or income. Whereas if you just start with absolutely nothing, you just finish high school and say, yep, cool, I'm 18 and I'm going to build $1 million business, and you got no resources, the likelihood is very slim. So people are counting time, not the inputs. Like the inputs can be resources, and resources can be time and money. Yeah, count the inputs and how many resources you can put into it, and that'll determine how much you can put in at a certain amount of time, will depend on how fast you can achieve something.
Yeah, that's so right. I think of it like you can go to the gym for a year, but how many reps did you actually do? And I think of due diligence as the same way, or how many businesses have you actually looked at and evaluated? It's about the reps. And another cool thing is, the 50th business you look at, you're very good at looking at businesses. And so it's almost like that knowledge compounds. You become more skilled, and you're even the businesses you're picking are of a better quality, because after you've looked at 50 businesses, you know not to look at certain kinds of businesses. And so the ones you do look at are then higher quality, and it's just a compounding effect.
Yeah, well, we've got somebody that has done so much due diligence that they haven't found a business yet, but they've stopped doing due diligence because they've done so much and they don't feel like they're going to learn that much more. They will, and they'll get practice and stuff, but they're not as active as what they were when they first started. And that's fine, in my opinion, because they know what they want, they know what business they want to buy, and they're going to buy a good business. They're in a way better position than somebody's like no idea doing their second due diligence. I think the gym analogy that you shared, William, is really good. Like, people may be counting weight, like how much weight they could lose if they're going to the gym. And somebody could lose, say if the goal was to lose weight, say, 10 kilograms or 10 pounds or whatever it is, and you need to lose that weight in a certain time frame in a month. Somebody in a month might do 100 push-ups, and somebody in a month might do 1,000 push-ups. It's not the time, it's the input of the 1,000 push-ups that are going to help the person lose the most weight, if push-ups were the input.
Absolutely. I was, I'm always reading Warren Buffett. He said pretty much the same thing the other day. He's like, the dude reads for a living. He reads 10 hours a day about businesses for 7-8 decades now. I mean, good grief.
Yeah.
he's got the idea.
Try and beat those inputs.
Yeah. So, I mean, like, he thinks very highly of just lots of inputs that are very focused. So
Yeah.
I think it's a solid way to go.